Hey guys, it's Katie. Wanted to touch base with you concerning fundraising, and wanted to just kind of speak to the topic a little bit for you, and hopefully I'll be able to encourage you and challenge you in different areas of your life, and hopefully my children will not interrupt us so that I can get this done, because this would be like take 12, I think, of trying to accomplish this. But I wanted to reach out to you. I know a lot of you are in a different place with your fundraising. Some haven't even started. Some are already hitting the ground running. And some of you have already talked yourselves out of going on this trip because of the finances. I'm going to be bold with you. I'm going to be straight with you because that's the only way I know how to be. Here's the deal. If you feel in your heart, in your soul and body and being that when you left that meeting, that informational meeting, something led you to the informational meeting, and you either got confirmation that now was not the time right away, or you still have that butterfly thing happening in your stomach and you are excited on how you'll be able to do this type of trip, but the finances scare you. $1,500 is a lot of money, and I understand that. And so I also understand that there are a lot of challenges with fundraising. You have some people who have the ability to pay their way. And if you're one of those people and you don't have to do a single ounce of fundraising, God bless you. And that is awesome. And feel free to contact me to help support Patrick and I. But not everybody is in that same boat or in that condition. Some people have a really hard time asking for money because you don't understand the concept of fundraising, or financial partnership is a better way of wording it. Financially partnering with people for the journey. Not everybody can go, but a lot of people love to invest. They love to give. They love to send because it's their heart as well, but the doors haven't been open for them to go. So I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to get rid of the plan Bs. I want to challenge you to get rid of the what ifs. Let me tell you personally, for myself, I've been in several situations on short-term teams where, if it wasn't the will of God, I didn't have a single dime come in. Not one penny has come in before for me on a trip. We have never fallen short. We have maybe come right up to the finish line, but we have never fallen short. Why? Because God is who He says He is. He wants you to have an enormous amount of faith. He believes in you. He wants to see you succeed. And He needs to bless you because other people need to see that. And so if you are worried about, first of all, if you're worried that you're going to have to pay all this stuff out personally, no one said you had to pay for it personally. And that means you're putting limitations on God that you can't fundraise the money. It's not your place or your job to dictate who will give and who won't give. You don't know that person's circumstance. And even if you do know inside to somebody's financial situation, it's not your place to decide whether or not they can or cannot give to your trip. You may get lots of $25 donations, $10, $5, $50, or you might get them all in $500 increments. You might look at that deadline that's coming up in June and say, there's no possible way. How dare you put limitations on God and say there's no possible way? Who are we to say there is no possible way? Talk to some of those team members that went on the trip last year. They'll tell you there were times where they were like, Lord, I don't know where else this money is coming from. There are people who walked into the meeting by faith when the deposit was due, did not have the entire amount. And by the time their hiney hit that seat, I was walking up to them telling them, somebody wanted to bless you and has paid your deposit. And it wasn't for them to know who that somebody was, but it was God wanting them to know that it was Him orchestrating things, because they continued to be obedient. They wrote their letters, they made their phone calls, they sent stuff out, and then they came to that meeting on faith, okay? They came to that meeting on faith, and by the time they sat down, that deposit was paid for. So don't put limitations on God. I want to read to you something Patrick and I are learning. We're learning a lot about fundraising right now. We're going through some training, and a lot of this stuff is worded for kind of long-term missionaries, but I really feel like that it applies to the short-term person that's trying to raise funds. And it's some misconceptions concerning fundraising. And one of the misconceptions is raising funds is begging for money. And the reality is people need to give. And God chose that the funding of his work be through the giving of his people. The thing that sticks out to me is people need to give, and God chose that. People need to give so they can see the miracles of God, and you need to receive those gifts so that you can see the miracles of God. Just like I was talking about that person who walked by faith into that meeting. If we don't activate our faith and give or walk in faith, we're not going to see the awesomeness of God, and we need to. Another misconception, partnership development, which is another way of saying fundraising, is a necessary evil done just to get to the field. The reality is partnership development is a ministry, not what you must do to get into ministry. It's a testimony of God's faithfulness to us. Walking into a stranger's home or a business and walking out with a partnership, trust, and friendship is a true act of God. So again, let me go back and just kind of reemphasize here. It's a ministry. And how many doors do you think are going to be opened by you sending your letters? By you talking to anyone and everyone that you see about this awesome opportunity? I do that all of the time. Everywhere I am, somehow I casually end up mentioning, that our family are missionaries to Haiti, and they'll always say, well, when are you leaving? And I always say, as soon as we have all of our funds in. I've talked to random moms I've met in the mall, grandmas, people at the park and the playground, and you will be shocked the people that would come back to you and hand you $20 and say, hey, this isn't much, but I want to help you. I want to bless you. There's no, this isn't much. Anything that anyone gives you is a huge blessing. And so don't get caught up in the amounts either that people give you. A couple of other great things out of this book concerning partnership development. The truth is, successful partnership development is 90% perspective. With the right perspective, we will enter the mission field fully funded, more quickly, more prepared, and with partners who have been and are being ministered to during this process. Without the right perspective, partnership development is merely fundraising and a means to an end. So get into the right perspective. Get into where your head needs to be. Perspective leads to attitude, which determines action. Okay, so you have to activate that faith of this trip. You will do what you believe. So we must have the right perspective concerning partnership development. Having a wrong perspective keeps many from full-time ministry. They feel called and have burden, but cannot see how it would be financially possible. How many people on this trip feel called and have felt called, but you have sabotaged your blessing? You have cut it off because you have not activated on your faith, because you have talked yourself out of it concerning funds. And that a couple of other great points. Don't look at people as dollar signs. God is your provider, not people. God said, go on this trip. He's going to make a way. He is your provider. People are not your provider. So make sure you don't lose focus. Be confident in what you are called to do. You may not be called to do full-time missions, but in this moment, your calling, your giftings, all of those things can be used for the glory of God. People want to have a clear sense of your calling. So when you're writing your letters and you're communicate clearly your testimony, your heart desire. What is it about going overseas and doing short-term missions that hits home for you? And then ask clearly what you need from people. Don't beat around the bush. Just ask clearly what you need from people. I want to talk to you real quickly about faith. When you walk in faith, you got to keep your mouth straight and your eyes straight. So when you're walking out in faith, don't start slipping in doubt. Don't start slipping in second guessing, plan B's and C's and D's. No, you walk in faith, you talk in faith, you keep your eyes straight, moving in faith, and you're going to watch this thing blow your ever-loving mind. Walk in your declaration, okay? So again, no plan B's. Your gift does not bless or impress God. Your faith moves him. Okay, so your gift or your giftings or your blessing to someone else, that stuff does not impress God. What impresses God is your faith, and it moves him to help you activate your faith. Faith is not faith if it's in your mind. You have to activate it. You have to move on it. You have to go for it. If you go through and you read Hebrews 11, throughout that whole chapter, 19 times it says by faith. So Hebrews 11:1 says, now faith is being sure of what we hope for and certain of what we do not see. So be certain in what you do not see. And then 19 times throughout the rest of that chapter, it starts with by faith. By faith Moses, by faith Noah, by faith Isaac, by faith. All of these miracles, all of these things, all of these crazy things that these guys did in the natural mind were done by faith. And because of it, God helped activate that faith and bless them abundantly. So I want to challenge you, don't talk yourself out of this trip just because of a dollar sign. If you know that God has laid this upon your heart, go before the Lord, humble yourself, write your letters from your heart, make phone calls, share your passion. Don't worry about the dollar signs. Don't worry about the finish line. You just stay in the moment and God will continue to bless you. I'm here for you if you have questions or concerns. If you want to talk to me or Hannah or Stephanie or any of the Pastor Randy, Pastor Larry, any of the pastors on this trip, Pastor Ross, any of them that they can help you in any way or I can help you in any way, please let me know. I'm looking forward to seeing all of you at the next meeting as we continue just to learn together, grow together. And I know that God is going to do some pretty awesome things. So start speaking it into existence. You need that $500 now, today. I want you to have now faith. I want you to speak it out, and I want you to activate on your faith, and I want you to sit and watch the glory of God on your life. Love you guys, and we'll see you soon.